Have you ever looked back at something that once broke you and realized it was the very thing that made you stronger? A heartbreak that taught you how to love yourself. A failure that, by closing one door, pushed you onto a better path. A loss that opened your heart to a deeper compassion. It didn't feel that way when it happened. In fact, it probably felt like the end, but somehow, over time, you began to see that maybe, just maybe, that moment was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. In life, things rarely happen the way we expect. Plans fall apart, people leave, opportunities disappear, and yet, years later, we often find ourselves quietly grateful for the very things we once prayed to avoid. Why does this happen? Is it fate? Is it karma? Or is it just a change in perspective? Buddhism offers a deeper answer. It teaches that everything arises from causes and conditions. Nothing is random, nothing is meaningless. Every event, no matter how painful or confusing, is part of a greater unfolding. In this video, we will explore that wisdom. We'll dive into the heart of Buddhist philosophy. We'll look at ancient teachings, real-life stories, and practices that help us find meaning even in suffering, especially in suffering. If you've ever wondered why things happen the way they do, if you've ever asked life for a sign or a reason, then stay with me. You may not get every answer, but you might find something even more powerful, a deeper sense of peace with what is, and a quiet trust in what will come. Because sometimes the most painful moments in our lives are not the end of the story. They are the doorway to something far greater. If everything happens for a reason, then what is that reason? Is it written in the stars? Is it God's will? Is it karma? Buddhism teaches that the world doesn't run on luck or divine punishment. It runs on causes and conditions. What you experience in this moment is not isolated. It is the result of countless causes and conditions, both seen and unseen, coming together. The Buddha didn't speak in abstract beliefs. He taught a natural law he called paticca samuppada, the law of dependent origination. In simple terms, it means nothing arises on its own. Everything depends on something else to exist. Think of a river. A river isn't just water. It is the result of a source high in the mountains, of rainfall, of the riverbed shaped over millennia, of its banks, and of the life within it. Without any one of these elements, the river as we know it would not exist. In the same way, our experiences, our emotions, even our suffering, arise from countless interwoven threads of action, intention, and conditions. You are not being punished. You are not unlucky. You are simply standing in the result of what has come before. And what you choose today will shape what comes next. This is where karma enters. But karma is often deeply misunderstood. It is not a predetermined fate. It is not a system of rewards and punishments handed out by the universe. Karma, in its essence, simply means intentional action. And every action, whether through thought, word, or deed, plants a seed. That seed may not grow immediately. It may lie dormant for years, but when the right conditions appear, that seed will bear fruit. If you speak with anger, you create tension. If you act with kindness, you create trust. If you hold resentment, you are the one who suffers. If you practice compassion, you begin to heal. This isn't magic. It is simply the natural unfolding of cause and effect. The Buddha said, "Beings are the owners of their actions, the heirs of their actions. Karma is the womb from which they are born. Their karma is their kinsman. Their karma is their refuge." Whatever we do, we carry it with us. And whatever happens to us, we can meet it with wisdom or with ignorance. That is our freedom. We may not control every result, but we can begin to understand the causes. And by understanding, we begin to live more consciously, more peacefully, and more responsibly. Everything happens for a reason. Not because life is fair or unfair, but because life is a law. And that law is not something to fear. It's something to learn, something to work with, and something that, once understood, sets us free. If everything happens for a reason, then why does pain exist? Why do we lose the people we love? Why do kind, generous people get sick or suffer? Why do we feel abandoned by life right when we need it the most? These are not just philosophical questions. They are deeply human ones. Because no matter who you are, where you live, or what you believe, one day life will ask you to say goodbye to someone you're not ready to lose. To let go of something you thought would last forever. To sit in a kind of silence no one else can fill. And in those moments, it's natural to ask why. In Buddhism, we do not deny pain. We do not avoid suffering. We look directly into it, not to glorify it, but to understand it. Consider the Buddha's teaching of the second arrow. He taught that in life we cannot always avoid being struck by an arrow. This is the first arrow. This arrow represents the unavoidable pains of human existence: sickness, old age, death, loss, failure. These are facts of life. They happen to everyone. But then, we often shoot ourselves with a second arrow. This second arrow is the mental anguish we create ourselves. It is made of our resistance, our blame, and our self-pity. The first arrow is pain. The second arrow is suffering. We lose someone we love, the first arrow. But instead of allowing the grief to flow naturally, we create a second arrow. Why me? If only I had. This is so unfair. We demand a world where impermanence doesn't exist. And that resistance, that clinging, is what turns pain into prolonged suffering. Loss hurts. There's no denying that. But Buddhism teaches us that loss is not personal. It is part of the nature of life itself. Everything that is born will end. Everything that arises will pass away. This isn't cruelty. It is truth. But here is the deeper lesson. Through pain, we awaken. Through loss, we realize what truly matters. Through endings, we see that we are not in control, and we never were. And that realization, painful as it is, becomes the beginning of freedom. Ask yourself, when have you grown the most? When have you discovered strength you didn't know you had? Was it during easy times? Or was it when life brought you to your knees? Pain is not meaningless. Loss is not punishment. They are powerful teachers. And when we stop running from them, they begin to teach us what no book or sermon ever could. So maybe the question isn't, why do we suffer? Maybe the real question is, what can this moment of pain awaken in me? To understand this journey of transforming grief, let us turn to an ancient story. The story of a woman named Kisa Gotami. Kisa Gotami lived in the time of the Buddha. She had one son who was her joy, her entire world. But a tragedy struck, and the young boy fell ill and died. Overcome with grief and unable to accept this reality, Kisa Gotami carried her son's body through her village, knocking on every door, begging for medicine to bring him back. People looked at her with pity, telling her that her son was gone, that no medicine could help. But she refused to believe it. Finally, a kind man directed her to the Buddha. He said, "Go to the Enlightened One. He may have the medicine you seek." Kisa Gotami rushed to the Buddha, laid her son at his feet, and pleaded, "Venerable Sir, please give me medicine to cure my son." The Buddha looked at her with infinite compassion and said, "I can help you. But first, you must go into the village and bring me a mustard seed. There is one condition. The mustard seed must come from a house that has never known death." Filled with hope, Kisa Gotami ran back to the village. She went to the first house and said, "Please, give me a mustard seed. The Buddha needs it to heal my child." The homeowners were happy to help. "Of course," they said. "Let us get one for you." As they were about to give it to her, she remembered the Buddha's condition and asked, "Wait, has anyone in this house ever died?" The homeowners looked sad. "Madam," they replied, "the living are few, but the dead are many. Just last year, our father passed away." Kisa Gotami went to a second house, and a third, and many more. But everywhere, the answer was the same. One family had lost a wife, another had lost a child, another, a parent. There was not a single home in the village that had not tasted the grief of separation. Slowly, Kisa Gotami came to a profound realization. Death had not happened only to her son. It was a universal truth, a part of life that touched every single person, every single family. Her pain was not hers alone. It was the shared pain of humanity. This understanding began to quiet the madness of her grief. She held her son one last time, took him to be laid to rest, and returned to the Buddha, not with a mustard seed, but with a heart that had begun to awaken. She told the Buddha, "Venerable Sir, I could not find a single house where death has not visited." And the Buddha taught her, "You thought that only your son had to die, but the law of death is this: among all living beings, there is no permanence." This story does not say that Kisa Gotami's pain vanished in an instant. When life tests us, the first question we ask is, why? But the more important question may be, what now? What will I do with this pain? What will I make of this loss? What kind of person will I become because of it? Because suffering is not just something to survive. It can be something that shapes us, refines us, and ultimately awakens us. In Buddhist practice, challenges are not seen as interruptions to life. They are life. They are the conditions that reveal our attachments, our fears, our illusions. They show us where we're still holding on, where we still believe we are in control, where we resist the truth of impermanence. But within those challenges, within the very heart of discomfort, is the opportunity to grow. Think about it. A lotus can only bloom from the mud, not from perfect conditions, but from darkness, weight, and stillness. In the same way, our deepest clarity often comes after confusion. Our greatest strength often rises from weakness, and our sense of purpose often awakens when everything else falls away. Purpose doesn't mean having all the answers. It doesn't mean fixing the world. It simply means living with intention, with awareness, with compassion, right where you are. You may not know where this path is leading, but you can choose to walk it with presence. You can choose to turn your pain into understanding, your fear into courage, and your struggle into service. There's a teaching in Buddhism that says, when one lights a lamp for another, it also brightens their own path. Maybe the reason you're going through this is not just for you. Maybe someone, somewhere, will be helped by your story, your honesty, your strength. The meaning may not be clear now, but trust this, your life still holds purpose, even in the storm, especially in the storm. Don't waste your suffering. Use it, learn from it, Let it soften your heart. Let it open your eyes. Let it teach you who you really are. Because the most beautiful version of you is not the one who's never been broken. It's the one who broke and chose to grow anyway. Acceptance is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is the quiet strength of choosing peace over resistance. When something painful happens, our first instinct is to fight it, to push it away, to deny it, to ask, why me? But Buddhism teaches us a powerful truth. What we resist persists. What we embrace transforms. So, how do we accept and transform? Let's practice together for a moment. Find a place where you can sit quietly. Sit with your back straight but relaxed, or you can lie down if you prefer. Let your body soften. Gently close your eyes or lower your gaze. Now, begin with the breath. Breathe in slowly. And breathe out slowly. Feel the air coming in and going out. No need to change anything. Just observe. Now, quietly name the difficult feeling inside you. Without analysis, just name it. Perhaps it's sadness, fear, emptiness, anger. Don't run from the feeling. Don't judge it. Simply acknowledge it. Allow it to be what it is. This is the first step of acceptance. When resistance arises, perhaps you want to escape this feeling. Perhaps you start blaming yourself or someone else. Perhaps you think, this shouldn't be happening. Pause. Come back to the breath. Notice the resistance. And then say silently to yourself, I allow this feeling to be here too. I hold even this resistance gently. Because when you stop fighting what is, you begin to make space for healing. When the pain feels unbearable, remember the Buddha's teaching on impermanence. Everything that arises will pass away. Your pain is not here to stay. It's like a wave in the ocean. You don't have to stop the wave. You only have to learn to ride it with awareness. And eventually, it will soften. It always does. Now, let's transform with compassion. Gently place a hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Now, silently repeat these phrases. May I be free from suffering. May I be safe. May I be kind to myself. May I be at peace. Let that warmth expand through your chest. This is not selfishness. This is medicine. Self-compassion is the beginning of transformation. Finally, transform through small actions. Once you've met your pain with presence, let it inspire something small and kind. After this practice, try smiling at yourself in the mirror. Send a kind message to someone. Step outside and feel the sun on your skin. You are water. Remember this. Your pain is not the end of your story. It may be the very place your true path begins. You've come this far. You've sat with pain. You've reflected on loss. You've looked into the nature of suffering, not to escape it, but to understand it. And maybe for the first time, you've begun to see that your struggles were not meaningless. Life doesn't always give us what we want, but it always gives us what we need to wake up, to grow, to remember who we really are. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every crack in your heart has let in light, and every tear you've shed has watered something deeper inside you: wisdom, compassion, and courage. The Buddha never promised a life without pain. He promised a path through it. He showed us that suffering is not a punishment, but a teacher. And when we stop asking, "Why me?" and begin to ask, "What now?" the journey changes. You become the student, and slowly, you become the light. So if you're hurting right now, if life feels heavy, if everything you once trusted feels uncertain, let this be your reminder. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And you are not being punished. You are being called inward. You are being invited to listen, to soften, to trust the unfolding even when it's unclear. Even this moment, yes, this one, is part of your awakening. Breathe. You're still here, which means life is not done with you yet. Let your pain become your purpose. Let your struggle become your strength. Let your questions lead you, not to fear, but to depth, to stillness, and eventually, to peace. The path is not always easy, but it is sacred. And if you ever feel lost again, just return to your breath. Return to this truth. Everything happens for a reason. Not always a reason you can see now, but one that your heart will understand in time. Until then, walk gently, love fully, and trust the wisdom growing quietly inside you. You are already on your way home. If this message spoke to you, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your story, your presence, and your voice may offer hope to someone else searching in the dark. Thank you for being here. May you be well, may you be free, and may your path always lead you back to peace.